The desperate gambit. Commander Zyrex stared at the tactical display as another Confederation cruiser winked out of existence, consumed by the relentless advance of the Void Swarm. The main bridge of the Eternal Vigilance fell silent save for the urgent beeping of warning systems and the hushed whispers of a crew facing extinction. Status report, Zyrex demanded, his 4 eye stalks quivering with strain as he maintained his composure. Science Officer Nara's tentacles danced over her console. Shields at 23%, Commander. Weapons systems operating at 40% capacity. The energy siphons from the void vessels have drained our primary reactor cores. Estimated time to complete power failure, 17 standard cycles. Zyrex's secondary hearts constricted. The Confederation fleet had engaged the Void Swarm 3 days ago on the edge of the Orion Arm, hoping to halt their advance toward the densely populated core worlds. Now only the Eternal Vigilance and 4 support vessels remained from an initial force of 37 ships. And the distress signal? Zyrex asked, already knowing the answer. Communications Officer Telex's skin paled to a sickly blue. No response from High Command, sir. The quantum interference from the Void Swarm is blocking all standard communication channels. We're effectively isolated. The bridge fell silent again. The Void Swarm had appeared 6 months ago, emerging from the dark space between the Perseus and Outer Arms. They consumed everything in their path. Energy, matter, even the fabric of space itself seemed to warp in their presence. Conventional weapons merely slowed them. Diplomacy had failed when the first envoys were absorbed into the collective. Zyrex turned his gaze to the view screen. Beyond the faint shimmer of their failing shields, the Void Swarm pulsated like a living shadow against the stars. Tens of thousands of obsidian vessels moving with a singular purpose, surrounding the remnants of the Confederation forces in a slowly tightening noose. Sir, Tactical Officer Dreven's voice broke the silence. The swarm is altering their formation. They appear to be conserving energy. I believe they're preparing for a final assault. Zyrex nodded grimly. How long? At current pattern progression, approximately 6 hours. 6 hours until extinction. 6 hours until the Void Swarm consumed them and continued its inexorable advance toward the heart of the Confederation. Billions of lives across 1,000 worlds would follow. Zyrex had never been a spiritual being, but he found himself contemplating the cosmic significance of their impending demise. The Confederation had stood for 10,000 years, uniting diverse species across 3 spiral arms of the galaxy. Would anyone remember them? Would any trace remain? Commander, Telex's voice pulled Zyrex from his dark thoughts. I'm detecting unusual signal patterns from a nearby star system. Void communications, Nara asked, alarm evident in her harmonics. No, Telex replied, his bioluminescent patches pulsing with confusion. These are primitive, electromagnetic wavelengths, radio signals, visual data transmissions. They don't match any known Confederation or allied species communication protocols. Zyrex moved to the communication station. Source: the third planet of a yellow dwarf star, approximately 0.8 light cycles from our position. Telex manipulated the controls, bringing up a visual of a blue-green world. The system isn't in our database. It appears to be uncharted territory beyond the Confederation's expansion zone. Nara joined them, her analytical mind already calculating possibilities. The signals indicate technological civilization, but the energy signatures suggest pre-FTL development. A Level 2 civilization by Confederation standards. An uncontacted species, Zyrex breathed. Confederation protocol was absolute on this matter. No contact with pre-FTL civilizations under any circumstances. Such species were to develop naturally until they achieved faster-than-light travel on their own terms. But what did protocol matter now, with extinction only hours away? Can we establish communication? Zyrex asked. Telex's skin flushed a shocked purple. Sir, the non-interference directive, will be irrelevant if the void swarm consumes us all, Zurex interrupted. This species, whoever they are, will be next after the Confederation falls. They deserve at least a warning, if nothing else. After a moment of hesitation, Telex nodded. I can attempt to decode their communication protocols and establish a connection. It will be crude, but possible. Do it, Zyrex ordered, and gather everything we know about the Void Swarm. If these beings have any chance of survival, they'll need information. For the next hour, the crew worked with renewed purpose. The 4 remaining support vessels moved into defensive positions, buying time as Telex and his team deciphered the alien communications. The Void Swarm continued its ominous pattern, seemingly content to wait for the perfect moment to strike. I've isolated their primary global communication network, Telex announced finally. It appears to be a digital information system spanning the entire planet. They call it Internet. I've identified several military communication nodes that might be receptive to our transmission. Select the most advanced one, Zyrex commanded. Telex's appendages worked deftly across his console. Connection established with a facility designated Space Force Command. They use a primitive binary language, but our translators should manage. Zyrex straightened his posture, suddenly aware of the historical significance of this moment. The first official contact between the Confederation and an unknown species would be a desperate plea for help. This is Commander Zyrex of the Galactic Confederation vessel Eternal Vigilance, he began, his voice steady despite the circumstances. We are engaged in battle with a hostile force known as the Void Swarm, approximately 0.8 light cycles from your system. Our fleet is facing imminent destruction. The Void Swarm consumes all in its path and will likely target your world next. We offer what knowledge we have in the hope it may aid your survival. The bridge fell silent as Telex transmitted the message, along with data packets containing tactical information about the Void Swarm. The minutes stretched, each one bringing them closer to the swarm's final assault. Then, unexpectedly, the communication system crackled to life. "This is Captain Maya Chen, United States Space Force," came a clear, confident voice. "We are receiving your transmission. Authentication and verification of source in progress. Please stand by." Zyrex exchanged glances with his officers. The response had come faster than anticipated, and in perfect galactic standard, clearly translated by their own systems. "The species designates themselves as humans," Nara murmured, reviewing the incoming data. "Bipedal mammals, carbon-based, limited lifespans of approximately 80100 cycles. Technologically advanced but confined to their solar system. Fascinating social structures." "Captain Chen," Zyrex responded, "I understand your caution, but time is critically short. The Void Swarm will destroy our remaining vessels within hours and may then detect your world. They are drawn to energy signatures, and your planet emits considerable technological output." There was a pause before the human responded. "Commander Zyrex, our systems have analyzed your transmission and detected your vessels via our deep space array. Preliminary assessment suggests you're genuine, though this situation is unprecedented for us. You mentioned a Void Swarm. Can you elaborate on their capabilities and weaknesses?" Zyrex felt a flicker of hope. The human showed remarkable composure for a being experiencing first contact during a crisis. "The Void Swarm operates as a collective consciousness," he explained. "Their vessels absorb energy and matter, growing stronger with each consumption. Traditional weapons have minimal effect. They anticipate logical patterns and counter them almost instantaneously. We found no effective weaknesses in 6 months of conflict." Another pause. "You said they anticipate logical patterns," Maya noted. "Have you tried illogical ones?" The question caught Zyrex off guard. "I don't understand." "Randomness," Maya clarified. "Chaotic variables. If they're a hive mind evolved to counter logical, predictable responses, then unpredictability might disrupt their coordination." Nara's tentacles rippled with sudden insight. Like introducing a virus to a biological system. Exactly, Maya responded. Commander, with your permission, I'd like to transmit some tactical ideas. Our species has a long history of asymmetric warfare and thinking outside conventional parameters. Proceed, Zurek said, newfound respect in his voice. As the human suggestions began flowing into their systems, Tactical Officer Dreven's expression shifted from skepticism to cautious optimism. Some of these approaches are unorthodox, but they might work. Sir, Nara interrupted urgently. The Void Swarm is accelerating its formation. Attack imminent in approximately 20 minutes. Zyrex made his decision. Implement Captain Chen's suggestions. All vessels, prepare for emergency maneuvers on my mark. As the crew rushed to reconfigure their systems according to the human specifications, Zyrex returned to the communication channel. Captain Chen, we are preparing to test your strategies. If they fail, he paused, considering his words carefully. It has been an honor to make your acquaintance, however briefly. May your species fare better against the void than we have. Maya's response was immediate and resolute. The battle isn't over yet, Commander. And if this works, it won't be our last conversation. The Void Swarm surged forward, a tide of darkness against the stars. But for the first time since the conflict began, Commander Zyrex felt something beyond desperation. He felt hope, the human element. Captain Maya Chen stood in the controlled chaos of Space Force Command's Operations Center, her eyes fixed on the massive display showing real-time deep space telemetry. Around her, a team of Earth's brightest minds, scientists, military strategists, and engineers, worked frantically to process the unprecedented data flowing from the alien encounter. Are we absolutely certain this isn't an elaborate hoax? General Reynolds asked, not for the first time. Maya understood his skepticism. 12 hours ago, her biggest concern had been budget hearings for the Europa mission. Now she was coordinating humanity's response to an existential alien threat. The quantum signatures match nothing in our database, Dr. Catry replied, her fingers flying across her workstation. The energy readings from both the Confederation vessels and these void entities exceed anything we could fake, and the data packets they've transmitted contain physics principles we've only theorized about. Besides, Maya added, if someone wanted to prank us, they'd come up with something more believable than four-eyed aliens fighting space vampires. That earned her a few tense smiles around the room. Good. They needed to stay loose. On the main screen, the desperate battle unfolded like a distant ballet. The 5 remaining Confederation ships now moved in erratic patterns based on Maya's suggestions, unpredictable spirals, sudden course reversals, and pseudo-random evasive maneuvers generated by algorithms originally designed to mimic natural phenomena like weather patterns and animal migrations. It's working, Lieutenant Park announced, monitoring the tactical feed. The Void Swarm's pursuit efficiency has dropped by 38%. They're having trouble anticipating the Confederation movements. Maya nodded, feeling a mixture of relief and urgency. That buys us time, but it's not enough. Commander Zyrex, are you receiving this? The alien commander's voice came through the speakers, the translation technology giving his words an oddly melodic quality. Affirmative, Captain Chen. Your randomization protocols have disrupted the swarm's coordination temporarily, but they're already adapting. Our shield capacity is at 17% and falling. Maya turned to Dr. Catry. What about the energy signature idea? The physicist grimaced. It's risky. Based on the data they've sent, the void entities are drawn to concentrated energy sources. If the Confederation vessels deliberately overload their reactor cores in a specific sequence, we create a cascade of energy signatures too tempting for the swarm to ignore. Maya finished. Like setting up a buffet they can't resist. But the Confederation ships would be sacrificing themselves, General Reynolds pointed out. And there's no guarantee the swarm wouldn't just consume the energy and grow stronger. Maya paced the length of the operations center, her mind racing. Not if the energy signatures are poisoned. The room fell silent as all eyes turned to her. Commander Zurex mentioned that conventional weapons barely affect these things because the swarm absorbs the energy. Maya explained. But what if we gave them something they couldn't properly digest? Dr. Katri, those theoretical models on quantum resonance disruption could potentially destabilize their molecular cohesion. Dr. Katri finished, already pulling up simulations. But we've never tested anything like this, even theoretically. And the Confederation would need to modify the reactor cores to generate the specific resonance frequency. Can it be done remotely? Maya asked. With their level of technology, possibly. Dr. Katri began rapidly typing instructions. I'm sending the theoretical models now. Maya returned to the communication link. Commander Zurex, we're transmitting specifications for a quantum resonance modification to your reactor cores. The theory is that when the void swarm absorbs this energy, it will create an internal disruption in their molecular structure. Silence stretched for several seconds before Zurex responded. Our science officer Nara has reviewed your proposal. It's audacious and potentially effective. But there's a significant problem. To generate a resonance field of sufficient strength, we would need to channel all remaining power through our primary systems. Meaning? Maya prompted, though she already suspected the answer. Meaning we would lose all propulsion and defensive capabilities during the process. If the void swarm doesn't take the bait, or if the resonance fails to disrupt them, you'd be sitting ducks, General Reynolds muttered. On the main screen, the tactical display showed the void swarm regrouping, their pursuit algorithms adjusting to the Confederation's erratic movements. The temporary advantage was already fading. There's something else, Zurex continued. If successful, the resonance cascade would create a quantum shockwave. At our current position, that wave would likely reach your solar system within hours. Dr. Katri paled. A quantum shockwave of that magnitude could disrupt our satellite networks, power grids, possibly even our planetary magnetic field. The implications were clear. Either the Confederation vessels attempted this desperate gambit, potentially threatening Earth in the process, or they faced certain destruction, with Earth next on the void swarm's path. We need a different approach, Maya decided. Commander Zurex, could your vessels reach our position? The alien commander's surprise was evident even through the translation filter. Captain Chen, I must caution against this. Confederation protocol expressly forbids. With respect, Commander, Maya interrupted. Your Confederation is fighting for survival. Protocol seems a bit academic right now. After a moment, Zurex replied. 3 of our vessels still have functional FTL drives. We could reach your system in approximately 6 hours. But that would bring the void swarm directly to your doorstep. Not necessarily, Maya said. An idea forming. What if only one ship came? Your flagship. The others could execute the resonance plan, but from a different position, away from Earth. A diversion, Zurex realized. But my ship alone couldn't stand against the swarm if they pursued. You wouldn't be alone, Maya assured him. We have defenses and ideas. General Reynolds stepped close, keeping his voice low. Captain, you're talking about inviting an alien warship to Earth. The political implications alone. Respectfully, sir, if the void swarm isn't stopped, politics won't matter much. She turned back to the comm. Commander Zurex, we need your knowledge and technology. Together, we might develop a more permanent solution. The operations center fell silent, waiting for the alien's response. On the tactical display, the void swarm continued its relentless advance. Very well, Zurex finally agreed. The support vessels will execute your resonance plan from the Arcturus vector, drawing the bulk of the swarm away from your system. The eternal vigilance will proceed to Earth. God help us, General Reynolds murmured. Maya spent the next 4 hours coordinating with global military commands and scientific institutions, preparing for the arrival of humanity's first official alien visitor. and potentially their last hope against an incomprehensible threat. Space agencies worldwide redirected their instruments toward the battle unfolding light years away, watching as 4 Confederation vessels executed a desperate maneuver to save a 5th. The resonance plan worked better than anyone had dared hope. When the support vessels initiated their modified reactor overloads, the void swarm converged on them like predators scenting blood. The resulting quantum cascade tore through nearly a third of the swarm vessels, sending the remainder into disarray. In the confusion, the Eternal Vigilance slipped away, its course set for Earth. "They've done it," Lieutenant Park announced, his voice thick with emotion. "The swarm is in disarray, and Commander Zerex's ship has successfully entered FTL. Estimated arrival in 2 hours." A cheer went up around the operations center, quickly tempered by the knowledge that 4 alien vessels had sacrificed themselves in the process. Maya felt the weight of their loss, despite never having met them. "The remaining void vessels are regrouping," Dr. Catry reported, studying the long-range sensors. "The resonance disruption was significant but not permanent. They appear to be healing somehow." "And their trajectory?" Maya asked. "Uncertain. They're moving away from the Arcturus vector, but not directly toward us. It's possible they're still too disoriented to detect the Eternal Vigilance's course." Maya nodded grimly. "So we've bought time, nothing more." "Sometimes time is enough," General Reynolds said, surprising her with his support. "The President has authorized full cooperation with Commander Zerex when he arrives. Every resource we have is at your disposal, Captain." "Thank you, sir." Maya turned her attention to the preparations for their incoming guest. "Dr. Catry, what's the status of the reception facility?" "Andrews Space Center is ready. We've established a quarantine zone and assembled the international scientific team. The Russian and Chinese delegations arrived 30 minutes ago." Maya was about to respond when a new alert sounded from the sensor station. "Captain," Lieutenant Park called, his voice tight with alarm. "We're detecting a disturbance at the edge of our solar system. It's not the Eternal Vigilance." The main screen shifted to show a rippling distortion near Neptune's orbit, a darkness that seemed to bend the light around it. "That's impossible," Dr. Catry whispered. "They couldn't have recovered so quickly." But the evidence was undeniable. Somehow, a splinter group of the Void Swarm had detected the Eternal Vigilance's escape and followed. Now they were entering Earth's solar system, hours ahead of their quarry. "How many?" Maya demanded. "Difficult to get an exact count," Park replied. "The distortion is affecting our sensors. Estimate between 50 and 75 individual entities, smaller than the main swarm, but more than enough to overwhelm our defenses," General Reynolds noted grimly. "And Commander Zerex's ship." Maya stared at the approaching darkness, her mind racing through scenarios and discarding each as quickly as it formed. Earth's most powerful weapons would be useless against entities that fed on energy. The Confederation's most advanced technologies had barely slowed them down. What could humanity possibly offer that made a difference? Then it hit her, so obvious that she almost laughed. "Chaos," she said aloud. "Pure, unadulterated human chaos." General Reynolds raised an eyebrow. "Captain." "The Void Swarm evolved to counter logical, predictable responses," Maya explained, excitement building in her voice. "Even our randomization algorithms eventually revealed patterns they could adapt to. But humans, actual human unpredictability, that's something else entirely." She turned to the communications officer. "Establish a connection with Commander Zerex, priority channel." When the alien commander responded, his voice carried a new edge of urgency. "Captain Chen, we've detected void entities in your system. We're increasing speed, but they'll reach us before you do," Maya finished. "Commander, I need you to transmit the specifications for your ship's defensive and offensive systems. Immediately." "May I ask why?" Maya allowed herself a small smile. "Because we're going to integrate your technology with ours in ways neither of our species has ever attempted. and we have less than 2 hours to do it. As the specifications began flowing into Earth's systems, Maya turned to Dr. Katri and her team. I want every video game designer, chaos theorist, and improvisation expert you can find on a video call in 15 minutes. Dr. Katri blinked. Video game designers. The people who create unpredictable challenges for fun, Maya clarified. The Void Swarm has never encountered human creativity unleashed. It's time they did. For the first time since the crisis began, genuine hope spread through the operations center. They were outmatched, outgunned, and facing an enemy they barely understood. But they had something the Void Swarm had never encountered. They had humanity. Counteroffensive. Commander Zurex had witnessed many extraordinary things during his 3 centuries of service to the Galactic Confederation. He had seen the crystal cities of Altair Prime, negotiated with the collective consciousness of the Nebula Dwellers, and survived the infamous Battle of the Crimson Void. But nothing in his extensive experience had prepared him for Earth. As the Eternal Vigilance decelerated into Earth orbit, the planet's beauty struck him first. Swirling blue oceans, verdant landmasses, and delicate cloud patterns. His second impression was shock at the sheer volume of artificial satellites and space debris surrounding the world. For a pre-FTL civilization, humans had thoroughly cluttered their orbital space. Commander, Nara reported from her science station, the Void Splinter Group has reached the orbit of the 6th planet. They appear to be moving more cautiously than usual. They sense a trap, Tactical Officer Dreven suggested. Our resonance attack has made them wary. Zyrex focused on the approaching threat. Time until they reach Earth orbit. Approximately 40 minutes at current velocity. The communication system chimed with an incoming transmission. Captain Maya Chen's face appeared on the view screen, her expression determined despite the visible exhaustion in her eyes. Commander Zurex, welcome to Earth. I wish it could be under better circumstances. As do I, Captain Chen, Zurex replied. We've been tracking the Void Splinter Group. They'll reach your position soon. Maya nodded. We're aware. Our plan is in motion, but we need your ship to complete it. She hesitated. I should warn you, our approach is unconventional by your standards. Considering conventional approaches have failed consistently against the Void Swarm, I welcome unconventional alternatives, Zurex assured her. Then please proceed to these coordinates, Maya said as navigational data streamed to the Eternal Vigilance's systems. And prepare for atmospheric entry. Nara's eye stalks twitched in alarm. Atmospheric entry. Captain Chen, our vessel is designed for space combat. While we can withstand planetary atmosphere, our maneuverability will be severely compromised. That's counting on, Maya replied with a slight smile. Trust me. Zyrex studied the human's expression. Despite the vast physiological differences between their species, he recognized the confidence in her manner, not arrogance, but earned self-assurance. Helm, set course for the provided coordinates, he ordered. Prepare for atmospheric entry. As the Eternal Vigilance descended through Earth's upper atmosphere, Zurex received continuous updates on the approaching void entities. They had accelerated, perhaps sensing their quarry's vulnerability. We're being hailed from the surface, Communications Officer Telex announced. Multiple signals, various frequencies. On screen, Zurex commanded. The view screen divided into dozens of smaller images, humans of diverse appearances and attire. Some in what appeared to be military uniforms, others in civilian clothing. Some spoke from professional settings with elaborate equipment, while others seemed to be in private dwellings with minimal technology. What is this? Dreven asked, bewildered. Maya Chen appeared in a central window. Commander Zurex, allow me to introduce humanity's secret weapon against the Void Swarm. We call it distributed chaos generation. I don't understand, Zyrex admitted. You shared that the Void Swarm functions as a collective consciousness that anticipates logical patterns, Maya explained. We've recruited thousands of human minds to generate truly random, unpredictable commands and strategies. Video game players, chess grandmasters, chaos mathematicians, children, artists, people whose thought processes differ fundamentally from each other. Nara moved closer to the screen. Her scientific curiosity piqued. A distributed tactical network comprised of non-networked intelligences. Fascinating. Exactly, Maya confirmed. No patterns to predict because there is no pattern. Each human will directly input tactical suggestions into your ship's systems, which we've modified to integrate with Earth's technology. Your officers will filter the suggestions, selecting the most promising for immediate implementation. Zyrex found himself both impressed and dubious. You've connected thousands of untrained civilians to a Confederation warship's tactical systems. Not directly, Maya clarified. They're feeding ideas into an interface that translates their suggestions into compatible commands. Your crew maintains ultimate control. Before Zyrex could respond, the ship's sensors blared an alert. Void entities entering upper atmosphere, Drevin reported. 63 distinct signatures detected. The tactical display showed the Void Splinter Group descending in their familiar hunting formation, a three-dimensional net designed to trap and envelop their prey. All defensive systems online. Drevin continued. But our energy reserves are at 42% after the FTL journey. We cannot sustain prolonged combat. We won't need to, Maya assured them. Commander, when I give the signal, execute a complete systems shutdown, followed by an immediate random restart sequence using our distributed input. A complete shutdown, Zyrex repeated incredulously. We would be defenseless. For approximately 3 seconds, Maya acknowledged. But the void entities will converge on your position, expecting to feed on your power systems, and instead encounter something they've never experienced before. Zyrex exchanged glances with his senior officers. What the human proposed was counter to all Confederation tactical doctrine, yet conventional tactics had failed consistently against the Void Swarm. Very well, Captain Chen, he decided. We will proceed as you suggest. The Eternal Vigilance continued its controlled descent through Earth's atmosphere, the void entities closing rapidly from behind. On the view screen, the assembled humans waited to input their unpredictable commands. They're within engagement range, Drevin announced tensely. On my mark, Maya said, watching the tactical displays. 3, 2, 1. Now. All systems shut down, Zyrex commanded. The Eternal Vigilance went dark, its propulsion, weapons, shields, and life support simultaneously deactivated. For a terrible moment, the ship hung in Earth's atmosphere, a dead weight subject only to gravity and momentum. As predicted, the void entities accelerated toward the apparently vulnerable vessel, their hunger for energy drawing them into a tight cluster around the Confederation ship. Random restart sequence initiated, Drevin called out, his four hands working frantically across his station as suggestions poured in from thousands of human minds. What followed defied description. The Eternal Vigilance erupted back to life, but in a manner unlike anything in its operational history. Its weapons fired in completely unpredictable patterns, some at full power, others at minimal output. Its shields fluctuated wildly, strengthening in seemingly random sections while deliberately weakening in others. The propulsion system engaged in a series of impossible maneuvers, violating basic principles of momentum and inertia through emergency spatial distortion. The void entities, accustomed to methodical, logical responses, found themselves unable to adapt. They scattered in confusion as the Confederation vessel behaved in ways that defied prediction. It's working, Nara exclaimed, her tentacles rippling with excitement. The swarm's coordination is breaking down completely. On the tactical display, the void entities milled about in disarray, their formidable collective intelligence temporarily overwhelmed by the sheer unpredictability of the assault. Phase 2, Maya called out. Commander Zyrex, proceed to the secondary coordinates. The Eternal Vigilance altered course, still executing its erratic maneuvers, drawing the confused void entities toward a specific location in Earth's upper atmosphere. "I'm detecting a massive energy buildup at the target coordinates," Nera reported. "Some kind of artificial construct in low orbit." The view screen showed a hastily assembled array of satellites and space stations, clearly repurposed from various Earth nations' space programs. At the center of the formation hung what appeared to be a primitive nuclear device. "Captain Chen," Zyrex said cautiously, "if you're planning what I think you are." "Not quite," Maya interrupted. "That's just the lure. The real weapon is something else entirely." As the Eternal Vigilance passed through the satellite array, the nuclear device detonated, not in a destructive explosion, but in a carefully controlled reaction that produced an intense electromagnetic pulse combined with a quantum resonance field calibrated to the exact specifications provided by the Confederation. The effect on the pursuing void entities was immediate and devastating. Drawn to the energy surge, they converged on the satellite array, only to find themselves trapped in a quantum field that disrupted their very molecular structure. "The containment field is holding," Maya reported triumphantly. "The void entities are neutralized." Relief washed through the Confederation bridge. For the first time since the void swarm appeared, they had achieved a definitive victory, not merely delaying the inevitable, but actually defeating a portion of the enemy. "Remarkable," Zyrex acknowledged. "Your species' approach to warfare it is." He searched for the appropriate word. "Refreshingly unpredictable." Maya's expression sobered. "This was only a splinter group, Commander. The main swarm is still out there, regrouping after the resonance attack." "Yes," Zyrex agreed. "But now we have a proven strategy against them. The Confederation's greatest minds could never have conceived of this approach." "That's because your civilization values order and consistency," Maya observed. "You've evolved beyond the chaos that still defines much of human existence. But sometimes chaos is exactly what's needed." The victory celebration was short-lived. As the Eternal Vigilance descended to rendezvous with Earth's leadership at Andrews Space Center, long-range sensors detected a new disturbance. The main body of the void swarm, recovering faster than anticipated and altering course toward Earth. "They've sensed the destruction of their splinter group," Nera theorized, "and identified Earth as the source." Zyrex felt a familiar dread returning. "How many?"